So before we begin, I just want to acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territories of the First Nations and Native American peoples. Here where I am in Vancouver, those peoples are the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations. But I know where many of you are, you're on the land of other nations. Always, but especially during this difficult time, let's remember our connection to our sisters and brothers in these nations and pray for the day in which we might be with them in right relationship. Welcome. Welcome to Living Interfaith. Know that the whole of you is welcome. You're not asked to leave who you are in your own homes. Please bring who you are in with you. But what you are asked to remember is that everyone around you has brought who they are in with them as well. And all of goodwill are welcome. Now let's sing. Beautiful. Thanks so much, Bruce and Cheryl. So I have some announcements. So happy World Interfaith Harmony Week. So this week is World Interfaith Harmony Week. There are interfaith and multi-faith events happening all over the world this week. I've been flooded with great news from all over through the United Religions Initiative as we find out about groups that are hosting events all this week. Locally, I know of several, so I just want to let you know. So our friends at the Surrey Interfaith Council have been tireless, as always. They organized 3 events this week. All of them are recorded. So the first was a Sacred Spaces tour, where they got clips from religious leaders from various traditions who were showing the inside of their buildings and also offering some practices. And they recorded these and put them together into a single recording that's about an hour long. Also, people were sharing their personal stories of faith, how they came to faith and how faith has sustained them in difficult times. And also last night, there was the interfaith music and spoken word concert. So the recordings from all these events are on the Surrey Interfaith Council's YouTube channel, which I will put in the chat right now. So you can watch any of those at your leisure. They're quite inspiring. The Global Clergy Association, the Multi-Faith Action Society, of which I'm a member, and Northwood United Church are all teaming up for events this afternoon. We're going to have a virtual interfaith conference that's done over Zoom on the topic of COVID and keeping our faith. So that'll be today from 1:30 to 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. So if you're interested, I'll put the Zoom for that in the chat as well. And that's today, 1:30 to 3:30, keeping our faith through COVID. And then finally, tomorrow, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is hosting another interfaith conference. It'll be from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The topic is the multi-faith diaspora, a force for positive change. And if you're interested, you can email them at their email address here just to get the information. Unfortunately, they don't make it. Oh, good. I'm so glad you're attending that, Rosalind. That'll be great seeing you. The Ahmadiyya community, unfortunately, sometimes gets hate mail, so they don't make their Zoom links available for everyone. But if you write to them, they're lovely. Or if you email me, I can give you the Zoom link for that. And that'll be tomorrow from 6 to 7:30. Sorry, and then I have one more. the Vancouver School of Theology will be holding our annual Interreligious Studies Conference. It'll be this coming May 24th through 26th. And the topic this year is going to be religious responses to climate change. So it should be wonderful. We have our keynote speakers will be Reverend Dr. Randy Woodley, who's amazing. He's one of the best professors I've had. And he'll be speaking about working with the earth from an Indigenous perspective and how we can work together to heal the earth. And then I know Seth Klein, the author of A Good War, about teaming up to combat climate change. Him and Christine Boyle will also be speaking. So if you're also, we're accepting paper, like paper proposals for that. So if you'd like to learn more about the conference, or you have an idea about something you'd like to present on that topic, you can go to the website or just message me, because I work with Rabbi Laura, who's organizing the whole thing. So that's what we have. Does anyone have any other events or anything you'd like to highlight now? Yes, Stephen?
I was going to save this for sharing of joys and concerns, but it's an event, so I'm going to be speaking about one family, the human family, with a wonderful interfaith-oriented woman out of Kuwait, who works with something she calls Interheart. And I can let you know the next time if you want to see just how badly I embarrassed myself or not, because I'll be talking about it, and then it'll be open to questions and discussion. And she usually, it's Zoom, but it'll be available, I think, on YouTube by the next time, because it'll be on the 15th. So by the next time we meet here, again, if you're curious as to what happened, I can probably, or Kathy can provide a link to it. But for me, what's warm and welcoming and lovely is that this is not just the United States. It's not just the Western world. This is a very interfaith-oriented Muslim woman in Kuwait who is spearheading this beautiful effort to bring people together. I'll shut up.
That's amazing. Oh, I'm so glad. No, thanks for letting us know, Stephen. I'd love to see it. And I'm sure other people would too. So please, yeah, send me the information when you can. That's wonderful. Thank you. Let's just come into silence for a moment. We can start our service. In the cinnamon-scented tower above the palace of Vanthi or Confucius, 95 incarnations sowing charmed poetic seeds, 100,000 transformations manifested lightning quick and miraculous as a mountain of pheasants, always persevering, expressing a mountain of goodwill, the goal to cultivate virtue, bringing honor to parents and country, intuiting in dreams the way of service to one another, having compassion for the miserable, building humaneness and piety, becoming saintly through compassion, cultivating mind and honor, piety, virtue, faithfulness, and compassion. These are attributed of Confucianism. Confucius engendered prosperity of the human spirit as a Lord who lifts his people. Through purification, he gained his insights, as well as sincerity and equanimity, and was sainted, therefore, with deep wisdom and unbounded humanity. Forgetfulness is the darkness. Mindfulness is the light. Let us bring awareness to shine upon all life. From the late Thich Nhat Hanh. And now if you'll unmute and join me in a passing of the peace. This is where we share peace with one another, welcome each other into the community. Peace, everyone. It's so great having you with us.
Peace to all.
Yes.
Peace to you.
Peace.
Salam
Assalamu
alaikum.
alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.
Peace
to
you.
Shalom.
The snowdrops in the garden at our house here, to you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And when you're ready, let's sing.
Suk sak suk se na moi na me na nhau con tuk vô bu chi chan thôi suk sak suk se na moi na me na nhau con tuk vô bu chi chan thôi suk sak suk se na moi na me na nhau con tuk vô bu chi chan thôi suk sak suk se na moi na me na nhau con tuk vô bu chi chan Suk sak suk se na moi na me nhau nhau con tuk vô bu chu chan thôi suk sak suk se na moi na me nhau nhau con tuk vô bu chu chan thôi suk sak suk se na moi na me nhau nhau con tuk vô bu chu chan thôi suk sak suk se na moi na me nhau nhau con tuk vô bu chu chan Suk sak suk se na moi na me nhau nhau con tuk vô bu chu chan thôi suk sak suk se na moi na me nhau nhau con tuk vô bu chu chan thôi.
Beautiful. Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you so much, Bruce and Cheryl. Fantastic. Now, if you'll join me in our joint affirmation. We come together in peace. We sing together in joy and with love. We worship together in one house, a house with names beyond number. Our paths are many, our beliefs are as leaves, and the tree that we cleave to is nourished by the light of compassion, justice, and mutual respect. May our lives, our beliefs, and our actions help to bring about the world of love we all seek, and let it begin here. Thank you. Now we take some time to pray in our own homes and in our own ways for something in the world. There are so very many things that need our prayers at this time. So I was reading about folks in the Ukraine yesterday and the fear they have, knowing that they're likely going to be going to war very soon. So I'll be directing my own prayers for those in Ukraine. But feel free to pray for your own causes at this time. We'll take just a few moments. Thank you. And when you're ready, let's sing.
가지 가지 설날은 어저께 고요 우리 설날은 오늘이래요 고고고 댕기도 내가 새로 산 신발로 내가 신나요 가지 소나는 어저께 고요 우리 소나는 오늘이래요 고고고 댕기러 내가 누리고 새로 산 신발로 내가 신나요 가지 소나는 어저께 고요 우리 소나는 오늘이래요 고고고 댕기러 내가 누리고 새로 산 신발로 내가 신나요.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Bruce and Cheryl, they literally prepared songs in 3 different languages today. It's just so amazing. We just are so blessed to have them. So thank you. Thank you. Now is when I usually say that I would pass around a basket if we were together in person. In lieu of that, I will put our donation page in the chat. So many of you already contribute so much to supporting our community and helping it grow. So we're just so grateful. Thank you. Also, any extra funds that folks have would be well spent with the Doctors Without Borders. They're doing so much good work in the world trying to help, especially during the pandemic. And I know UNICEF was sending canvassers out earlier this week, also trying to help get kids vaccinated and taking care of kids' health. So any extra money that you could send to them would be great. Are there any other causes that would be good to highlight at this time? Feel free to speak now or put them in the chat. Yes, Stephen.
Acknowledging that my prejudice is that having 1 month to remember Black history is not enough. But that said, this is, at least in the United States, Black History Month. And if we can donate, I happen to have some favorite charitable Black causes, but there are numerous causes, and this would be a good month to dig deep and support our Black brothers and sisters. Thanks, I'll shut up.
No, very good point. Thank you so much, Stephen. That's great. Thank you. Well, then when you're ready, Bruce and Cheryl, if you'd like to lead us.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Beautiful, thank you. And now it's my joy to turn it over to Arthur. Arthur's joining us today. He's a friend of Sukhmani's, and he's graciously agreed to share with us about his own experiences celebrating Lunar New Year. So Arthur, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kathy. Hello, everyone. My name's Arthur. Well, I'm originally from China, and I was actually, came to Canada about 10 years ago, and then Sukhmani is my friend, first friend met in Canada. So I'm just gonna, so basically, I just kind of base my understanding. I'm just gonna do a brief presentation about Chinese New Year, yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna share my screen if that's okay. Okay. So where is it? Sorry, 1 second. Let me bring this up. Yeah. Can everyone see the slides? Okay, cool. Yeah, so the presentation is probably going to be about like a 15-minute. So I'm just gonna briefly talk about myself. I was born and raised in China and came to Canada about a decade ago. And right now I'm actually in DC, study at Johns Hopkins University, international relations and economics. And then before I was working in Vancouver most of the time. So like the think tank, APF, and it's basically kind of focused on Canada-Asia relations. And later I was working at a Glacier Media Group before coming to US. And also I kind of interned at a few places. And personally, I also ran a podcast. If you ever interesting podcast, happy to share that. And I graduated from UBC in economics and international relations back in 2017. So yeah, and then for next, so basically what I'm going to cover today would be like where the Chinese New Year is celebrated, origin, history, and also like basically what it probably looked like for Chinese New Year in mainland China today, and also just very briefly what this year might look like in Canada. But I'll probably kind of my primary focus is probably going to be on like origin, history, and maybe what's going on in China today. Yeah. So, and then I noticed that, so I like, because when I was working on the slides, I was just kind of assume that everyone might not or have very little the background of Chinese New Year. But if you do, please do kind of point out if you find any kind of errors or mistakes, because I'm just kind of speaking out from my own experience. I'm not the cultural study PhD, you know. Yeah. So next. Yeah, so basically where it's celebrated right now. So mainly in East Asia, but also some Southeast Asian countries. So mainland China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, 2 Koreas, Vietnam, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei. And then I would say in most of the East Asian countries, based on my research, it's 3 days for public holiday for the Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year. It will be around like a 1 to 2 days in Southeast Asia, like Malaysia, Indonesia. It was mainly because they have around like a 10 to 20% Chinese population there. Therefore, they have this kind of public holiday for as part of their community. Next, I'm not sure. Yeah. So yeah, for the origin of Chinese New Year, I did a little bit of research and also just kind of based on my personal experience, grew up in China. So there's a couple of kind of mythical stories, origins. So one, people are saying that, so at the end of the year, people use their harvest to pay tribute to their ancestors. And the second one would be people kind of use their actions, words, performance to kind of drive away the evil stuff and basically kind of pray for the good fortune for the next year. Or it can be related to ghosts. There are actually a couple, not just Chinese New Year, but a couple of festivals in China related to ghosts. But what I do want to kind of dig a little bit into today is the story down there, the legend of Xi and Nian, which is the next slide. So it's kind of a mythical story which I kind of heard when I was a kid. So the whole story goes like this. So a long time ago, there's a monster called Xi, which means like a dusk. It's usually like the monster kind of hides in the mountains for most of the time. And it only kind of comes out at a New Year's Eve every year, and then it kind of go to eat the livestock's corpse and sometimes even people, and therefore villagers in the village, they all kind of escaped. So this kitchen god, which is basically is part of the Chinese like a folklore belief system. There are multiple gods in China's folklore belief system, and then this kitchen god's basically in charge of food. So you might see that if you actually go to China and go to probably rural areas, people might kind of pray to this guy. So basically in this story, the kitchen god actually cannot do anything about this monster. So he actually invited a prodigy, which is basically a superpowered young person called Nian, which means year. So this prodigy is very powerful, and he actually killed the monster Xi with red silk and firecrackers. So basically for the villagers to kind of thank him, so people actually start celebrating the last day of the year, and then called it Chuxi, which basically means get rid of the dust, basically get rid of the monster. So that's how actually called in Chinese Chuxi, which just means like the New Year's Eve before Chinese New Year. And then for the day after would be the New Year. Basically it's called Xingnian, which basically means New Year, because the guy who kind of killed the monster's name is Year. So basically that's kind of the one of the many stories of the origin of Chinese New Year. And basically that's kind of why you see people dress in red, wear like a red socks, and then set up firecrackers to celebrate Chinese New Year. Yeah, and then next it's just a little bit history about Chinese New Year. So it has been going around for thousands of years, but actually since Han Dynasty, which is around 156 BC, that's the time this emperor actually kind of officially celebrating it. And then this basically back in Han Dynasty, it created a foundational calendar, which is the calendar that is Chinese New Year is based on. It's called an agricultural calendar, or it's called crop calendar. So a lot of times people mention the Lunar New Year, but actually this agricultural calendar is a combination of both solar and Lunar New Year. And then so basically over the dynasties, Liang Dynasty, Tang Dynasty, and Yuan Dynasty, Song Dynasty, they all kind of build up upon this original calendar created back in like Han Dynasty, which is probably 2,000 years ago. So on the right, it's actually the calendar that if you go to kind of some kind of Chinese person's house, and you might see this. So it kind of marked the date based on like both the calendar we're using now and also the agricultural calendar we had before. And also it actually says like maybe like a January 3rd, or what, like it's better to do praying or like travel. It's better not to do like a moving around, something like that. So yeah, and also just a little bit anecdote. January 1912, that's the day where like the dynasty ends in China, and then the Republic of China was founded, and basically that's the time China kind of switched to the Western calendar. And then starting from then, because the leaders back then, the KMT government really kind of want to modernize China, modernize the culture. So it's actually try to prevent people from celebrating Chinese New Year. It wants people to kind of celebrate the New Year based on the calendar we have now. But there were actually a lot of resistance back then. And then as China entered the World War II around 1936, 1937, so this kind of effort gradually fade away. So people still like keep celebrating Chinese New Year over time. And 1949, People's Republic of China was founded, and then basically that's how China just keep using this the calendar we have right now. Yeah. And then next, so just a little bit about Chinese New Year in mainland China today. So there's a couple items that people normally do. As you can see on the right-hand side at the top, that's like a couple of days ago, a picture in Beijing, like because this is a year of tiger. So they have this kind of statue, you know, normally in those kind of public square outside the shopping mall. And then on the left-hand side, that's actually it's called Spring Festival Gala. So it's a huge TV show organized by the state TV station CCTV, and it has been going on since 1983, and it's around like 4 to 5 hours long. So normally starting from like 8 p.m. On Chinese New Year's Eve, and then goes all the way until midnight. So it's basically a bunch of like popular singers, dancers, and comedians perform there, and while people are eating Spring Festival meal or Chuxi meal on the right hand side. So that's basically, I guess it's similar to like Thanksgiving meal, which is a really big meal. Like people spend like days preparing for this meal. Yeah, and then next, that's me. So there are a couple of there are a couple of kind of food that people normally eat during this time. So dumplings, you guys might know, and also on the right hand side, that's also the rice cake, which is something. Well, my grandma, she used to make this during the Chinese New Year, and also on the left hand side, that's the sweet dumpling. So actually, when I was talking to my friends, so there are kind of different traditions in northern part of China, south part of China. So in the north, sometimes in the old days they put like coins in the dumpling. So if your dumpling has a coin, then basically that means like you will have like good fortunes for the new year. But then right now they kind of replace the coins with the nuts. So if there's nuts in your dumpling, basically that means you have good fortune. And then they're also like it's not a really tradition, but people also just give the gifts to your relatives or your friends. So that's me back in 2017 in China for Chinese New Year. My cousin gave me a hat. Yeah. So and then just a couple more old and new traditions. So Spring Festival couplet. So that's basically you kind of write a few words on the best wishes to the new year, to the family, and then you kind of stick this to your door. So basically that's still something basically everyone's still doing in China right now. And then down there is the kid has the lucky money in the red envelope. So that's something basically grandparents normally do. They will prepare this red envelope with like probably a couple hundred RMB, I don't know, which is like 50, 60 Canadians, and then they will give it to the grandchildren just for the good wishes. And then on the right hand side, so basically it's kind of involving new tradition. So WeChat is basically a chat application on the phone. And because it's really popular, basically everyone has it, and it has a function. Basically, you can send money over the chat. So basically, this red envelope become paperless. Basically, like this is how kind of people send the lucky money right now in a group chat. So they would just kind of send a couple RMBs in a chat, and then you better to kind of grab it before it's gone. So like everyone is in the chat waiting for someone to send the money, and they would just grab it. So yeah, so that's kind of the new tradition right now. And then lastly, just a little bit about Chinese New Year in Canada. So obviously the one in the Chinatown in Victoria is actually the oldest one in North America. I think it was established around like 1885. And then after basically the population peaked around 1911. So in 1911, it has around 3,000 Chinese workers or Chinese population in that Chinatown. And then you guys might have seen it before. So like basically every year right now in Chinatown, Victoria, and also Vancouver, it has lion dance and then a lot of celebrations every year. And also if you're collecting stamps, so I think Post Canada also has this kind of year of rooster, year of tiger. They publish this every year. And then lastly, I just kind of want to throw in a little bit kind of interesting history here. So in the middle, it's actually a poster back in 1903. So basically, this is kind of the relationship between Chinese history and also I would say Chinatown in Canada. So back in like the 1900s, that was the time where the China is kind of, there were two groups of people. One really want a revolution and want a new republic, which is later become Republic China. And that was led by Dr. Sun Yat-sen, which is also, there's a Sun Yat-sen Park in Chinatown, Vancouver. So those are the people who want a revolution, want a republic. But then there's another group of people, which is kind of maybe less known. So they are Chinese Empire Reform Association. So basically they kind of want to keep the emperor in China. So they actually had this building in Chinatown, Vancouver. So basically like they were like having some overseas activities there. And then basically the picture on the right hand side is actually the building today. It's still there. So that's kind of the connection, I guess, between China in 1900s and with Canada in Chinatown, basically. Yeah, and then very lastly, just some kind of recommendations if you're interested in Chinese New Year. So BBC Chinese New Year, there was a documentary back in 2016. That one is really good. So I have the link here. I can share the slides later. And then the second link is basically the Spring Festival Gala I was talking about. If you click that, that's on YouTube, and that's like 4 hours, 30 minutes. So I don't think anyone will probably watch that, but feel free to kind of just take a look. And then the third one is it's a documentary, even though it's kind of it is by the state media, but this one is about food. So it's basically about what kind of food was made across China during the Chinese New Year. And then the very last one is actually a documentary made by I think it's by Chinese Canadian, also Canadian director. So one of my professor, Peterson from UBC history, he was actually interviewed in this documentary, and this one is about basically when during World War I, China actually sent a group of Chinese soldiers to France to fight a war, because like China kind of want to join the ally to have a better position internationally. And then basically this group of Chinese soldier to get to the France, they have to cross Canada. So basically they cross Canada by train, and basically this is a documentary about that. Yeah, so basically that's all my presentation, and thank you so much. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, but I'm not really an expert. I'm from China, and I did a little bit of research. So yeah, thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Arthur. I learned so much. I didn't know any of this going in, so this was wonderful. Thank you. If you're able to stay just a little bit, I think Bruce and Cheryl have one more song, and then I'll do a closing prayer. And I know some folks have to leave, but for other folks who are able to stay, if we could stay a little bit and ask some questions. Would that be okay if you stay for a little while to answer some questions?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Perfect. Thank you. Yes, Bruce and Cheryl, when you're ready.
This has a refrain which makes it a little bit simpler to sing for everyone. Gongxi gongxi. Gongxi 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 ni ya. Gongxi 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 ni. Gongxi 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 ni ya. Gongxi 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 ni. Here's a verse. 美妙的小巷，每个人的嘴里，见面的一句话就是恭喜恭喜恭喜恭喜恭喜你呀，恭喜恭喜恭喜你。冬天一到尽头，天气好的消息，When you want to 吹风，就要揪心大地。恭喜恭喜恭喜你呀，恭喜恭喜恭喜你。Again， 每条大街小巷，每个人的嘴里，见面的一句话就是恭喜恭喜恭喜恭喜恭喜你呀，恭喜恭喜恭喜你。冬天一到尽头，天气好的消息，When you want to 吹风，就要揪心大地。恭喜恭喜恭喜你呀，恭喜恭喜恭喜你，恭喜恭喜恭喜你呀，恭喜恭喜恭喜你。
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Fantastic. I see Rosalind said she would like to share just a little something before my closing prayer. Yes, Rosalind, we'd love to hear from you.
Thanks, Kathy. Hi, everybody. Happy Lunar New Year of the Tiger. Just wanted to presence myself as I have to go. And I want to thank, first of all, Kathy for inviting me, and secondly, Arthur for the presentation. And who were the singers again? I can't see the names right just now. Oh, Cheryl and Bruce, and musical inspiration. It was really lovely. And I don't know why, while Arthur was speaking, he mentioned about Victoria being the oldest Chinatown in Canada. And then it led me to realize that I actually didn't know this growing up, but I don't know if people are familiar, but the oldest Chinatown in the world is in Manila in the Philippines, which is my country of origin and my hometown. And I don't know why I didn't notice at all growing up. And it took me immigrating to Canada and being an adult in my 30s to learn this. This is so weird. But yeah, I just want to kind of, I guess, share that and give a shout out to my hometown and heritage. It's not obvious from my name, but I do have Asian heritage. And in case anyone's interested in learning more, you can always just Google oldest Chinatown in the world, Binondo, and I can spell the word Binondo in the chat. So thank you again. Gong hei fat choi, Senior and Kuala. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rosalind. Friends, thank you so much. Gong Shi Fat Choi. This is the year of the tiger. May we have the strength and courage and resilience of tigers to face this year ahead, and just all be supportive of one another going forward. Thank you so much. May you be blessed.